Donovan Lewis. How are you?
I am great, Danielle. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you for
This
asking me. This is
this
I
is
feel I feel privileged
no, I
to
feel
ask me this
privileged because the
question.
people don't know who you are. So I'm gonna give you a second to introduce yourself for those that don't know who you are. I know who you are. You wearing the shirt. This man right here, y'all. He has his own sports radio show called The Ticket. So Donovan, take it away.
Yeah, well, my name is Donovan Lewis. I am from Dallas, Texas, born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and yes, I do work at a station called Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket. I have a show on from 10 to 1 Monday through Friday. Have a radio partner named Matt McLaren, and I've been at the station now since 2006. So this is year 17 for me here at the Ticket, and it's been a blast, having fun. I love sports growing up, and never thought that you could have a job talking sports to the masses on the radio. So it's been great. So that's a little bit about me, but I'm sure we'll get to know more about me throughout this podcast.
Yes, and where can they find you at? If this is a Texas audience or just anywhere in the country, can they find you on a Pacific channel or?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're in town and you're listening old school on the radio, it's 96.7 FM, 1310 AM. But if you're anywhere, you can stream us. It's either at theticket.com, that's our website, or they have this app called the Sports Day app that if you look it up, it's so cool because you can rewind an hour. You can pause, you can rewind an hour. Let's just say, you know what? Oh my God, I forgot that the show was on and it's 11 o'clock. You can log on to the Sports Day app, rewind it back to 10 o'clock and listen to the entire show. So
Ooh.
Sports Day app is really cool.
You have social media that people can follow?
Yep, I am on Twitter at Great Donovan, and Instagram is Donovan Lewis 1310.
And I'll leave that all in the bio, you guys. So
All
you can
right, there we go.
yeah, tap in on Donovan.
Right.
So Donovan, we're gonna play a little game here. I like playing games with my guests, get them all, the thinking, get the mind going, a little
Okay.
icebreaker game,
Love it.
So, I asked you who was your favorite team, which I already kind of assumed it was the Cowboys, being that you're
Right,
from
right.
Texas. So
Yeah.
we about to see how well you know the Cowboys.
All right, all right. I like it.
I mean, I learned some stuff too while I was researching. Now, this is how the rules go. So it's 6 questions. For every question that you may get wrong, you got to promote me. So if you get
Let's
two
go.
wrong, you text two people.
All right,
I get me out there. Even
done.
if you get them right, you still gonna promote.
There you go. Love it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I got
All
you.
right. First question: what year did the Cowboys play their first game ever?
1960.
Dang! Ding, 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 ding! All right. Who did they play?
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm just going to take a guess because I really don't know, and I'm going to say the New York Giants, but I think that's wrong.
Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right.
Pittsburgh. You was close though. You was
All right.
close. Let's see. Which team did Dallas Cowboys beat in the Super Bowl 30?
Super Bowl 30, had to be their last Super Bowl. They beat Pittsburgh.
Still us. Ding, 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 ding. And which Dallas quarterback was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2006?
'06, that had to be Aikman, Troy Aikman.
Ding, 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 ding. Yo, he's
All
killing
right.
it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. He's killing it, okay? He's a true cowboy. He's showing it. He's showing it. Ain't no disappointment. Let's see what former Dallas Cowboy was shot and killed in May of 2005.
What former Cowboy was shot and killed 2005? Boy, that is a good one. Oh, why am I blanking on that?
Want me to
Cowboy
give you,
shot, killed 2005. Boy, it's not coming to me.
want me to give you a hint?
Sure.
Initials is DL.
Oh man, I'm lost. I don't know.
David Lang.
Okay, you know what? You could have given me David, and I probably wouldn't have gotten the the
That's
last
that's
one.
cool. That's
Okay,
just two down. That's just two down. The
okay.
last question: how many owners did the Cowboys have within the first 40 years? So the first 40 years, how many owners did they go through?
Oh boy, you know what? That's kind of a trick question. Okay, so I'm gonna say two,
You
and
close. You warm.
okay, so is it three?
You hot.
They had four owners.
Four.
Okay, wow. All right. Well, did I have to
Yes,
promote you three
y'all. He
more?
got
Man, all
three out
right.
of six. He did good. He still know the
Okay.
Cowboys because some of them questions. Yeah, 1960, first game ever. Like, who would have thought of that?
Yeah, I
I
don't know why I
wouldn't.
have that in the back of my head, but I
I
knew that one.
wouldn't. Y'all,
Yeah.
he's a true Dallas Cowboy fan. Bet I heard something on T-Cast before you was a Cowboy fan. Your father was an Eagles fan.
Yeah, my dad just never liked the Cowboys. And, of course, you're watching games all the time with your pops and you want to be like your pops, and he just didn't care for him. So I didn't either. I wasn't a big Cowboy fan, but then as soon as I saw Randall Cunningham play quarterback, I'm like, you know what? That's my guy. I'm done. So wherever he goes, I go. So he was an
Oh
Eagle.
man.
He played in Philadelphia the first 7, 8 years of his career. So I was definitely 100% an Eagles fan, all because of Randall Cunningham.
So how long has it been since you've been a fan?
When he left, I followed him to Minnesota, and then after he left Minnesota, he played in Dallas for a year, and then he played in Baltimore for a year, and then he retired. So once I started working at the station, and that's all you talk about. The Cowboys pay the bills when you're on sports radio here in Dallas, so you have to talk about them a lot. So once we started talking about them, I found myself rooting for them because the better they are, the better we are as far as content for the station and all that. So,
Right.
you kind of morph into being a fan and liking them. So it hasn't been a long, long, long time, but
Right,
yeah, I
right.
consider myself a Cowboy fan.
All right. Did you play football growing up?
No, I did not. I think I played once in our little youth league, and I played one game, and I got hit, and I was like, "Whoo, man, that hurt. I don't think this for me." So I I kind of start talking about it. That's the name of my game
Right.
now instead of playing it. No, I my high school didn't have sports. I
Oh
went to a high
wow.
school in downtown Dallas, so we didn't have sports. So no, I didn't.
Wow. Did you play any sports?
I thought for about the first, I don't know, 12, 13 years of my life that I was going to be a baseball player. We played baseball a
Okay.
lot in the neighborhood. Played on a couple little league teams, and that's what I wanted to do. I thought I was going to play baseball, but
All right.
I guess it didn't work out. The old arm injury, I just wasn't good enough to to keep going. But
Oh my
yeah,
God.
loved it. Still love baseball, but yeah,
Right.
that's what I wanted to do.
Man, look at you now talking about sports, football.
Talking about it all now, right?
Talking
Yeah.
about it. Oh my God. Yeah, watching that podcast, T-Cast, I was like, wow. I learned a lot about you. I mean, because when I met you, it was during my Southwest years.
That's
We
right.
was on a
That's right.
plane together that had to detour to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. That's right. That's
We were
right.
sitting next to
Weather was
another
bad.
passenger where it was her first time on a plane ever.
That's right. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yes, yes, you guys, yes. Oh my God. So tell us a little bit about your background before we dig in deep. Like growing up, how were you? Did you come from a two-parent household? Education wise, spiritual wise?
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in a section of Dallas called Oak Cliff. That's my hood. People who
Okay.
understand and know that they'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, now mom and dad, they still live in the same house I grew up in. They aren't going anywhere. They've been in that house since they bought it in 1968. So they aren't going
Ooh.
anywhere. As a matter of fact, my younger sister, I have two sisters, one older,
Mhm.
one younger. I'm the middle boy. And she lives in the house next door. So they still run the neighborhood over there. So
I
yeah,
know
grew
that.
up there. Went to church in North Dallas over there with my grandparents lived in North Dallas, so we would go over there for church every Sunday and go hang out with them every summer. Really close knit family, especially on my mother's side. My mom had two sisters, and
Mhm.
all of us, the cousins, it's five of us, and we all grew up really tight together and are still pretty tight this day. So yeah, it's just went to all during high school, middle school, elementary school, high school in Dallas. Went to school in downtown Dallas, and then
Hmm.
when I graduated high school in 1988, I went to college in Commerce, Texas, about an hour and 15 minutes east of Dallas. It's A&M Commerce now, and got my degree in radio, television, and boom, it worked. How about that? Didn't think
There
that
it
was going to
is.
work, but it did. Yeah.
It did. And then I was hearing on, you discussing the music background.
Yeah, just always loved it, and I know everyone does, but it always just holds a special place in my heart because, with it being hip hop's 50th birthday, and just
Yes.
growing up listening to hip hop and just absolutely loving it, and having the headphones in my room and just trying to, learn all the lyrics to all the songs. It just held a special place. My parents would listen to it all the time, and we would, just dance around the house on Saturday nights as they put the music on and all that. So it's just uh, always was a special place to me, and I try to even do that on a talk radio station. That's the one great thing
Hmm.
about our station. It allows us to kind of branch out and do a whole lot of different things and meet a lot of different people. I remember one time I showed you the pictures of Ice
Ice
Cube
Cube.
in studio. Yeah,
Mhm.
you get a chance to meet a lot of different people and do a lot of different things other than sports. So just to
Right, right.
there are a few times a year. Oh, when New Edition was in town for a
Mhm.
concert, they let me hijack the radio a couple of hours the night before their concert just to spin New Edition tunes. So I played 2 hours worth
Wow.
of New Edition tunes because that's my favorite band growing up. So
Right,
just
right,
different things like that. So it always, I'm always going around here singing and listening to music in the car and all that. So it just
right.
holds a very special place for me.
That's the joy of it.
Yeah,
Doing
yeah,
what
it's
you
great.
like, but at the same time, you can implement in something that you enjoy to do outside of
100%.
doing a normal job.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
It just
cool
makes it
thing.
all better.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So, just talking about your job and stuff like that, have you experienced a lot of different challenges throughout the job? Like, I know before you came to the ticket, you had transitioned from like another position, but it's crazy because you've been in the same umbrella you said for 30 years.
Yeah, July was 30 years for me in the business. It's crazy to even think about that I've been doing this
Wow.
for 30 years. But yeah, it's a whole bunch of different challenges because you have to start out at the bottom and you're kind of unfamiliar. When I was growing up, there were two R&B stations here in Dallas that if you were going to work in radio, that's where you wanted to work. That's the music I
Right,
listened to.
right.
That's the stations I wanted to work. But my first job was at a conservative talk radio station that I didn't know anything about it. Heck, I didn't even know the station existed before I started working there. And I got the job there and just trying to work your way up from the bottom. You kind of feel like, man, I don't know if this is where I belong. I don't
Right,
know if this
right,
is what I want
right,
to do. You get to some doors that just don't open easily. You don't have the right
right.
key. You're trying to open it up and move up, and it just doesn't happen. So there were a couple of different times where I thought I was going to leave to go do
Hmm.
something else. But and as a matter of fact, my uncle had a State Farm agency, and he
Okay.
set me up for an interview with another agency, and it was going to be out of town, so I wasn't even going to be living in Dallas. And I went and interviewed, and the guy I was talking to said, "Hey, I will hire you on the spot, but the way you talk about your job now, there's no way you want to leave that. So I'm just not going to hire you because I don't want to, I don't want to do that to you." And I was like, "Dude, I need to make some money, man. Forget that. Let's
Right.
go." And he was like, "No, man, I can't do it. This just feels like I feel like this is just your passion, and this is what you want to do." So
Right,
I
right.
wish I know his name. I remember his name because I really don't. But he helped me out a lot. Because if he would have offered me that job, I would have taken it
Wow.
because it would have been an increase in pay. And now you figure out it's just not about the money. It's about
Right,
you
right,
being happy and doing something you're passionate about. So I'm glad
right.
I stuck around.
And you found your niche. You said your freshman year in college, second
Yeah.
semester.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was an engineering major. I thought because you're good at math, you have to be an engineer, and that's
Right,
what I wanted
right.
to do. But that intro class kicked my butt, and I was like, okay, now if this is intro, I'm screwed. So I went and talked to this counselor, and I guess I didn't shut up. And she suggested that I take this announcing class, and I was like, okay, I'll take it, and took
Right.
it, and just instantly fell in love with it. It's okay, all right, that's what I want to do. That feels like that's me. That fits more of my personality. So
And
that's
you were going in the right path because when you graduated from college you landed a job.
I know, right?
into
And
your major. Who does that?
I know that was I was very surprised by that. I had all intentions on moving out of town, maybe to go somewhere and try to work my way back into this major market, or just even doing something else altogether. I really did, and just to just blessed to find this and to
Yes.
stick with it, and just try to pursue it because there were times I did definitely Danielle definitely wanted to turn around and say, you know what, I'm done. This is not for me. Let's do something else. But I'm glad I stuck it out.
Yes, because look, 30 years later,
30 years later, how dumb is that? I just can't even wrap my head around that. That has
meeting
been
all
30
kind of
years.
people,
Yeah,
being able to
so
network, going to games, being able to just, like you said, sit down and watch a football game and take notes and then go to work tomorrow and talk about it
and to a
and get
big
paid for
amount of
it.
people, right, right. That's the one thing that another thing that kind of blew my mind when you think about radio because you're in a studio and you're talking to someone else and it feels like it's just the two of you talking. But you just have this mass audience that everybody's
Hmm.
listening and they're kind of I don't want to say hanging on your every word, but they're listening and they're taking in what you're saying and they're commenting and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
you don't realize the reach that you have until you kind of have an event or go out somewhere and people talk to you and it's like wow, they talk to you like they know you and you've
Right.
never met them before, and that takes a lot of getting used to, especially
That
when
does.
yeah,
And a
and you
lot of
talk about
talent.
personal stuff. It take you talk about a lot of your personal life on the air, and a stranger walks up to you and tells you something about you. I'm like, how you? Oh, okay, okay. I talked about that. My bad. So it takes a little bit of getting used to.
Right. And it's talent. It's talent to be able to sit up there and hold a conversation and just have the audience engaged.
Yeah, it's you know what? If I had to think about it every day, it may kind of make me nervous a bit because it feels like you're only having a conversation with a couple other people, but you don't realize how many people can actually just tune in and listen to you. It's almost like you're sitting at the very front of a stage and there's a big crowd, just right there, but you just can't see them. So it's a little weird, but I
Right.
think I've gotten used to it here now.
How many of you guys is it on your show?
I have a co-host with Matt McLaren. We have our producer who opens his mic and talks all the time. His name is Travis Mejia, and we have a couple of other guys that are update guys and a guy that runs our commercials and sound and all that. And they can open up their mic and talk anytime. So basically, it's a five-man show.
Wow,
That
with all the different personalities and
Yeah, yeah, different age groups. Now, I used to work with a guy who was in the business for almost 50 years. So he retired, and we have this new show. And now I'm the old man of the crew. So now I got to be the guy that, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to
right,
being the
right,
old man
right.
of the crew,
You
but
to be at
everybody's younger
chilling.
than me. Yeah, they're calling, hey, old man. I'm like, dang, okay, I'm the old man. So it's a fun dynamic. We really have
Right.
a good time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then how do you guys keep the audience engaged with like all the different personalities and stuff? I think that kind of helps because like you said, it's different age groups, different personalities, different humors. Who's the most humorous person?
Oh man, that's a good one. I think we all have our own ways of trying to make ourselves laugh, and I think that's the whole thing. That's the challenging thing because you don't think about it, but we have a 3 hour show, and a lot of people will say, "Man, you just work 3 hours. Don't worry about it." But it is it's challenging to try to keep everyone entertained and
Right.
engaged for 3 hours in different segments. And what may be something that I'm passionate about may not be what you're passionate about. So
Right.
you're listening to me talking about it. I got to get you interested in something that maybe you're not interested in. So that's the challenge that we have every day. But it's fun to even do it. And sometimes you strike out, you whiff, you talk about something that sucks, and your opinion sucks, and all that stuff. That's just the name of the game, you know?
Right.
You're
Right.
not going to be right all the time. You're not going to do the right thing all the time or keep people engaged all the time. But you have to hit it the majority of the time because if you don't, they'll go off somewhere else. So you have
Hmm.
to try to just do what you feel is right, the right subject, the right opinion, the right everything, and just go from there.
Right. Oh
But
my.
if you're gonna ask me, I'm the funniest.
He
Okay,
said,
just gonna say it. That's what
he
you want
said
to
it,
hear.
y'all. He's the funniest. He's the oldest.
Right.
He's the
I'm the
most
smartest.
senior.
I'm the best looking. I'm the funniest. All that. Just whatever you want to
Right.
ask. It's me.
It's him, and y'all better not say nothing.
That's right. And you better not disagree.
Oh my God. How are you guys able to keep up with like the latest news, the latest football, entertainment world? Like, so you're just like on the clock 24 hours a day, right?
We really are, and again, that's the only way I think you can get me a little bit upset talking about my job is telling me that I only work 3 hours a day because everything we do is basically I'm thinking about how we can talk about it on the show. So if I go to a concert, we're definitely talking about it on the show. Go to a movie, go anything. I have my class reunion, my 35th high school class reunion tonight. So I'm definitely going to go and talk about that on Monday. You know what
And
happened.
Danielle's pod show on Monday.
And who I saw and all that stuff. So, and my
Right.
partner is in Vegas for the very first time in his life. He's never been to Vegas,
What?
so he's going to a wedding in Vegas this weekend. So
We're
we'll
gonna have a lot to
definitely.
talk about.
I know, no, so we'll definitely bring that to the show. The Cowboys play on Monday, so we'll definitely talk a lot about that, and then talk about it again on Tuesday. So football season is usually pretty busy for us, and it kind of
Right.
flows pretty easily. But it's those challenges of those months where you don't have a lot of sports, where you have to bring out the personality. You have to think of a whole bunch of things to talk about that's kind of off the cuff or brand new or something like that that I love. I love the challenge because
Right.
I feel that if I'm interested in it, I can pretty much get you interested in it if you hear me talk about it.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how we do it, and that's how we bring it in. I love every aspect of the job. It's a dream job, seriously. I
It
never
is.
thought that you could get paid to talk. I
Right.
usually when I'm talking in church or school, they'll tell me to shut up, and now I get paid to talk. So it's great.
He's like, I'm talking all day.
Right, and you can't make me shut up. How about that?
Oh my God. I used to wanted to go into the radio world growing up because I love to talk to, I love to talk around people, in front of people. Um, I've always been a social butterfly. But
Yeah, and it's now you have a lot of ways to a lot of different platforms to get your voice and your opinion out there now. It wasn't that way when I was first coming out.
no
But now with this podcast and social media and everything
vlogging,
else, you can
everything.
have your voice and you can find it and you can make it a living if you want to. So
Right.
it's a great time right now for people to get out if they want to have something like this to just use their platform to get out there and do good things.
And like you said, you got to put in the work.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was a long road, but it was so satisfying just to kind of see what you wanted to do. 'Cause that's why I give a lot of credit to our bosses. If we want to be frank here, it's not a lot of opportunities for a young brother from Oak Cliff to make it in this radio game here in Dallas. It's just not. There's not. But I told them exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, and they gave me the opportunity. So I really, really do thank them for that because, it's kind of unconventional road I went down, but
Right.
I think they realized that I was going to work hard and try to get to where I wanted to be, and they helped me out. They gave me every opportunity and every avenue to get to where I am right now. So I really appreciate that.
Do you have like a mentor, or are you a mentor in the business for over 30 years?
Um, I 100% did. I can tell you a couple of different people also. My uncle, who had that State Farm agency as a graduation present, he gave me a lunch with a guy named Bob Ray Sanders. He was a journalist for the Fort Worth Star Telegram, and he had a show at KLIF in the evenings. So we had a lunch. About a week later, he called me and said, "Hey, man, I think there's a job opening here. Why don't you come apply for it?" And that's how I got started. So if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't even known about the job. So him, definitely one. And there's another guy that I call the Godfather. His name is Kevin
Wow.
McCarthy. He had a show
Wow.
from 9 to noon at KLIF, and I was working with him for 5 years. And this dude taught me everything I know. Seriously, he put me
Wow.
on when board operators didn't turn their mics on at all. And
Right.
when we would talk before the show, he said, "Hey, man, you have a little something. Let's just try to work it and grow it and see what we can do." And
Right.
this
Right.
guy, to this very day, I can call right now, and he'll call me and tell me how proud he is of me, and then he'll call
Oh.
me and give advice, and I'll have him
Right.
on our
Right.
show because he's the man, and I
Right.
can't thank him enough for what he did for me in this business. And he knows, and I try to tell him every time I run across him or see him that he's the reason that I am where I am right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And you'd have
And I
been in
definitely try to be a mentor to any, especially people who look like us, if they
right,
want to
right,
get in this business, to try to tell them how difficult it is, how long of a
right,
road it is. But there are opportunities out there, and there are vast opportunities, not just the avenues that we think, the R&B
right,
stations or the hip hop stations, but I worked at a conservative talk station. I worked at a classic rock station, and now I'm at a sports station. There are so many different avenues where you can get to where you want to get. And I try to let them know that. And yeah, I've been in the game for a while, so there are some people who will reach out. And it's weird to hear them say that, I'm an OG, or, I'm a, something like that. That's still weird. I can't wrap my head around that, but you have to kind of take the responsibility in, and I do. I take it seriously. I take that
right,
responsibility
right,
seriously as far as being the only black man at our station able to, because when times are kind of crazy, and they had been for a long time, and our station lets us get our opinion out, not just sports. But when there weren't sports anything going and it was just COVID, we still had to be on the air. We still had to
right,
talk. There was a lot of social issues going on, and they let us voice our opinions without any ramifications whatsoever. So I definitely had to take that responsibility on, being the only brother there, and just really trying to, you know, speak from the heart and speak the truth, my truth, what I know is the truth. So
right,
we did all that. So it's sometimes it gets you in trouble with some people who don't agree with you, but what can you do? You can't please everybody.
right. And I think just going back to when you talked about COVID, like that's when people really opened up and had an open mind when it came to technology, because a lot of jobs find out, oh, you can work from home. Did you
Right.
see, like, when it first started, like, couldn't go in the news anchors were working from
Oh,
home.
I know. We were
Like,
working from home. Yeah.
yes, and you just popped up your laptop. Long as you have Wi-Fi, you can make money.
I know. I know. It's right there, and it was wild. I couldn't wrap my head around sitting in my bedroom being on the radio. Like, it was really hard for me to grasp that when we were at home for a while. I went back earlier than usual because
Hmm.
there were a couple of times I couldn't log on Wi-Fi at my house,
Hmm.
and I'm about 20 minutes away from the station, and I kind of hopped in my car and just drove to the studio. There were no one on the roads. There was no one at the radio station. So I thought, okay, there's no one here. I may as well just to go keep going in. So I
Right,
started going in really early while everyone was still at the house because there was no one up there. But
right.
yeah, everyone's kind of realizing that this little laptop thing we have and these little phones that we have are pretty dang
Man,
powerful. Let me tell you, it's a lot going
it's a
on when you
lot.
have
It's a
those.
lot.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
didn't have that back in our time growing up. We didn't have
not at
cell
all.
phones. We didn't have laptops. We didn't have computers. We had typewriters.
You remember when the pager came out and we thought it was the
Oh my
greatest thing
God,
in the
people.
world?
And I was like, I started to think, how do we have a pager without a cell phone?
I
And we
know.
got
You have
to go
to
to
stop at a
911.
pager.
We had pay phones. We
Right,
had
right.
to pay to call somebody.
I
Yeah,
know. You had to, and somebody in town. You had to call and
right.
pay them. Yeah, yeah.
And then
Call
we
it.
had the
Get a
calling
call.
cards.
Right, right. It's crazy. It's crazy how far we've come. But yeah, you're right. These are all money making tools that you can use to your
Right,
advantage to
right.
try to get ahead. But you gotta keep grinding because that grind never stops. Ever, ever stops.
I see it in just what I do in the podcast.
Right.
Trying to get people, trying to engage the audience, and then you gotta edit, you gotta upload, you gotta do a lot. You gotta prep for it.
Yes. And it's a lot of competition out there. A lot of
It
people have
is.
podcasts, so you got to make
It
yours
is.
stand out a bit and try to
Right.
get people to subscribe and all that.
Right. And I've been so blessed, like, to get someone like you to come on my platform, and all my other prior guests that's been on, like, I'm like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah, that's great. Hey, that
yeah,
means you're doing something right, and
right. Going in the right
everybody's going
path.
to join you, right? So they want to pay it
Right.
forward. Everybody wants to do that. So
Right.
you only have to ask me once.
I know.
Anytime you
I was like, Donovan, I need you on my show. And he was like, I got you.
got you, let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Um, so you talked about your college life. We talked about your major. Was there ever a time when you had to think quickly on air to provide an accurate description of a play or event? Like, you thought the show was gonna go one way, but then you guys had to like quickly come up with another solution.
Yeah, if you have, we try to stay on top of sports breaking news or whatever. And there are times where, all right, you have something planned, and all of a sudden something big happens in sports, and you have to just shift right on the fly and just try to talk about that. And it gets a little clunky sometimes, but
Right.
you just got to adjust and make sure that you have. But I've always said I would rather be slow and right than fast and wrong, because some people want to be
Right.
first to break the news, but then they don't have all the information, and they're just kind of talking out their butts.
Right.
And I'd rather gather all the information that I can and then present it, so you can present a logical side of what you're trying to talk about. So it's been several times. There are even major events that happen in the world, not just sports. It
Right.
comes down, you're going to break news, and you're expected to talk about it. You're a host, and you have to go for it. So you have to, just kind of calm yourself down a bit, because it can get a little nerve wracking as far as, all right, you know what? I just want to make sure I'm not talking crazy. I have to get my facts right, and I have to make sense. That was probably the
Right.
three things that I think you have to do the most when you're presenting news that you're not prepared to present. But it happens a lot. So
Right.
you have to kind of stay on your toes. But that's where everybody kind of comes in and, helps out. And our producer gathers all the information that he can to present to us, so we can sound as best as we can, so we can sound like
Right.
a well-oiled machine.
Right. That kind of brings me back to when you had your other podcast on TCast, and you were talking about, meeting celebrities and stuff, how you kind of be nervous, but then you just talk to them regular, and then they'll just talk back. And you're right. That's where the fast thinking come in, because it's like, okay, what am I going to say? I love this person, but you can't do
Right, right.
that because you got to be professional at the same time. Like,
Don't want to sound like an idiot,
right.
but I usually, if I'm interviewing someone, my style, which probably doesn't fit a lot of other people, I will admit this is just for me. I always just write down one question, the very first one, because it forces me to listen to what they're saying, so I can play off of what I want to ask when I'm listening to them. Because I feel if I write down a whole lot of questions, as soon as they're answering one question, I'm looking down at the other, and just to make sure I'm going to ask the right one, and I'm not paying attention.
Right,
So
right,
every first question, I know what I'm going to ask, and I never write any other questions down. I just want to listen, because
right,
I think that can be the better conversation if I'm listening to what they're saying. I do the research, I do everything else, I'm prepared, but I just never write down a list of questions, because I feel that'll distract me a bit. So
right,
it's worked so far. Hopefully, I haven't
right,
fallen flat on my face yet, but
right.
we've had an opportunity to interview a lot of different people, and it's been really, really cool to get to know them and just talk to them and do those interviews. Those guests probably think I'm crazy, because I'm kind of looking at them right in their faces. They're talking, because I'm trying to listen. They're like, hell, you looking at me like that for? But it works best for me when I'm just really truly paying attention to what they're saying and not focused on what I'm asking. And it's been great.
Right, right. So I know you mentioned too, for a lot of you that don't know, Donovan is married. And you're talking about how your wife was very supportive, and how you guys met in college, and she was just very supportive along your journey.
My
So,
goodness, I'm telling you, when you get married and you talk about, okay, I take care of a family, we start a family and all that, and that starts with money, and I wasn't making any, let me tell you, and it was tight for a long time, but she realized that this is what I wanted to do, and she was like, okay, you know what? I know we're gonna struggle. Don't worry about it. She went and got a second job just to make sure we were okay, and just said, hey, I know you got this. I know this is what you want to do. Let's just keep going. So we kept going, and everything kind of worked out. But yeah, she's been great. I got to talk about her on the air a lot. And she's not happy all the time about that, but I do, and she is 100% supportive of everything that's going on, and that has done nothing but help me out, because
right,
when it's tight, and tempers can flare, and you can hey, you need to do something else. This ain't working.
right, right,
She had every right to say that, but she didn't. So it's been cool that she was 100% behind me, and she has a good career of her own also. So
Right.
it's funny how we entered at the bottom of our, because she's been at her company for 29 years and I've been at mine for 30. So we both entered at the very bottom and have worked our way up in the company, even with her career going. So it's been a
Wow.
crazy ride, and we kind of sit back and contemplate on some things at times. Like, man, remember we didn't have any money to buy 2 pieces of pepper around here, and
Right.
now
Right.
things are way better now. So it's been great.
Like they don't make marriages like they did when my parents and then you guys seem like you got the last of it, because I know you said you guys got married in 1996.
Yes. Yeah.
So that seemed like the last of it. It's like now people are giving up, and finances is one of the biggest reasons why people are giving up, because they're either not getting paid from their job or they're trying to do something that they love, but they can't afford to do it because they know that their partner is not going to be supportive of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the
That's hard
stress
to
of,
find.
hey, what are you doing? Hey, we need to take care of, all this other stuff. But yeah, it's great, man. It's one of those things to where I think you could have easily just said, hey, man, you ain't taking care of me, I'm out. And that probably could have been, it would have been justified because we just weren't making any money whatsoever. And that probably the only issues we've ever had. But other than that, you're right. It's tough. It's easy to give up, but it's harder to stick around and stick in it and make it work. And we hadn't even ever thought about not sticking around and not
Right.
making it work. That's not even an issue.
Right. How do you guys balance out to make your marriage last for as long as it did? How do you balance out the work? She has a career, you have a career, you guys are both on top. Like how do you balance that out?
We just make sure, we're kicking it, we're hanging out, do different things because her job requires a ton of hours. She's here, she works from home mostly. She's kind of stuck in the office working a ton. So, when she's done or it's the weekend, hey, let's go grab something to eat. Let's go do this, let's go do that. And you just try to make sure you hang out outside of the house because sometimes the house can get a little stagnant. It can get a little, it's the same thing over and over and over again. So we definitely try to do that. But again, and you have your time to yourself.
Right.
She has her things with her girls, and I can go kick it with my fellas and all that other stuff. But it's when it gets down to it, hey, let's go, grab a meal and a drink or something like that and just catch up and all that. So it's always that, maybe once a week, maybe even twice a week. We don't have any kids. So
Right,
it's getting,
right.
hey, let's just go out and, go out of town, take a quick weekend trip somewhere or something like that. So
Right, right.
you can easily find that time to, just kind of recharge and catch up and all that stuff and then get back to the grind because it's always back to the dang grind. But
It
yeah,
is. It is.
yeah.
It's always that grinding. But like you said, you guys have been together for so long. You guys know each other. And it's like you guys can still go out, have your career, be on top, but then you still know how to come back and bring it in together. And
Yeah.
be very supportive of each other. That's amazing to me.
That's the best thing, man. Because if for a while she was traveling a ton with her job, it's like, hey, go kick it, have fun.
Right.
Maybe I'll come up for a weekend when you got to go for a couple of weeks and all that stuff, just to make sure we can hang out a bit. But yeah, it's just all about kicking it, hanging, and just not sweating the small stuff. We laugh a lot. I mean, a ton at each other, with each other, all that stuff. It's just all
Right.
about just having a good time. That's what it's all about.
I'll ask you another question. I heard you mention on the last podcast about your group that you're in called At Last.
Yeah, no, it's not a group. It's a charity. It's a boarding experience in the hood. And usually, when you think of boarding schools, you think of Switzerland and going out of town and facts of life and all that stuff. So this is
Right.
actually a boarding experience that the kids go to school. But
Right,
after school,
right.
they come back to the facility where they get the nutrition, the tutoring, just the safe environment to concentrate on their education and make sure that they're getting ahead in their education. And it's such a unique charity, especially for the hood, because it's in the same neighborhood where I grew up in. So it's
Wow.
getting the kids that went to the same elementary school that I went
Right,
to.
right,
So
right.
it's fascinating, and the guy that started it is a really good friend of mine. And once he told me about it, I wanted to try to support it as much as I can. So every Labor Day, I have a domino tournament. I love playing dominoes.
That's what I, yes, yeah, I saw that. Yes.
So we have a domino tournament, and every penny goes to At Last to support them. And this past year, we raised about $120,000 from a domino tournament. So we're going to try to keep going and, just keep growing. This was the 5th year that we've done it. So we've gotten to over $500,000 raised for At Last in the 5 years combined. So hopefully we can just keep growing, keep continuing to do it, because that charity is wonderful. They had their first commencement address, and they really don't like to call it a commencement address because it's not a school, but the first student that was there from 4th grade to 6th grade graduated out, and when they had the commencement ceremony for her, she got a full scholarship to college in the 6th grade. Like, no one does that. So as long as she gets out of middle school, gets out of high school, she will be going to college on a full ride. So that's what that's doing for these kids that probably wouldn't even have that opportunity, and they just continue to grow and grow. So it's a wonderful, wonderful charity that I'm 100% behind. And if I want to brag on myself a little bit, the street outside of the facility is named after me.
Are you serious?
Yes, yeah. You can come to Dallas. If you hit the Waze app and put in Donovan Lewis Lane, it will take you right to the front door of At Last. So, yeah, they wanted to dedicate that to me for all the work we've done with the domino tournament for the charity. But I'm just a small part of what they're doing for the kids out there at Last, and it's an incredible, incredible charity. That's one of a kind, if you ask me.
Wow. See, you guys, it's an honor to have this man on here.
Now, if you go to Donovan Lewis Lane, don't blink, because you'll miss it. You're like, oh, what was it? I didn't know where it was. You'll miss it, but it's there. I'm telling you.
It's there. Don't blink.
You turn your head, you're going to miss it. Like, what?
Oh my
Where it go? Where it go? But, yeah, no, it's... I will. Atlastboarding.com is the site to check it out. I would encourage you just to look at it and see. You'll go, wow, it is. It's so great, and it's doing such wonderful, because you just never realize that there are kids out there that are 8 or 9 years old that are the oldest sibling in their house. So they got to take care of their younger siblings, make sure they're fed, make sure they're bathed, make sure they're in bed, while their parent has to go to work, and they're not. Like, I can't even imagine that responsibility, and that seems like education is going to take a back seat to family and making sure everything is okay. But that gives them that safe environment to go and make sure they can concentrate on their studies, and it's working. It is 100% working, and it's great.
And especially with the COVID, when they miss those like 2 years of school, a lot of these kids are set back, period.
Yes, they are.
To have that, and especially in that area, like, that's tremendously, that's awesome.
Just think about us as kids, and if we had to go to school at home, do you think we'd 100% concentrate on studies if we were at home doing?
No, because we had books. We didn't have computers.
Right. But yeah, those kids were, I think, some of them were set back because of the environment they were in.
Right.
Some didn't even have Wi-Fi to go to classes on Zoom. So, yeah, it's definitely helping them out, and it's wonderful, and it's growing, and it continues to grow. So, check it out. I think you'll be impressed about the work that they're doing out there.
Wow. I always like to ask my guests too, if you can go back to the age of 18 and give yourself advice, would you give yourself any advice?
Oh my goodness.
Being 18? What you know now?
Yeah, I was going 3rd year into college. Man, you know what? I love the fact that, even after 18, you make those mistakes, but those mistakes will make you who the person you are right now. So there are some things that you probably would maybe tell your 18-year-old self to avoid, but I think if I would have avoided it, that butterfly effect would have had me maybe going down a different path. So I kind of like the different roads that life went down for me, because you got to bump your head sometimes to let you know that you're at a point to where you need to turn around and go somewhere else. And if things were a little bit too easy for you, then maybe you wouldn't, just embrace life and everything that's happened.
I don't want to hold up any more of your time, but yes, thank you. You guys, you have it. Donovan Lewis, his own sports radio station, The Ticket. I'll drop all his contact information down in the bio so you guys can follow him, listen to him. See, you guys can see more of that. You guys could have seen the Ice Cube.
You know what? You were the first person that texted me. But like, I'm jealous.
I was like, I'm jealous. I want to do what you're doing.
That's exactly right. You were the first person to reach out right when I posted that picture. You were like, "I'm jealous. I want to do what you do. When can I come out there?" I was like,
Yeah, I was like, are they hiring? I enjoy talking to people.
That's right.
Oh,
No,
yes.
it's great. Thank you for having me. This has
No,
been
thank
really
you for coming. Oh my God. Thank you guys. I will have all his stuff in the bio. This is Donovan Lewis, the Domino Man, the ticket guy, the radio sports host.
just slamming my domino down, letting everybody know I got some skills around here. Yeah, I got some skills around here.
Yes, he's like my brother, y'all. I've known him since 2011.
Let's do this. All right.
Yes, let's do it. Peace.